This weekend began the holiday of Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a great holiday. Hanukkah is also an anti-secularist holiday. So Hanukkah is all about the Jews defeating the Hellenists, a group of members of the Seleucid Empire who are attempting to take over the Jewish temple, transform it into a pagan temple, and a lot of Jews who are going along with this because better to assimilate than to be part of the Jewish people. The Maccabees rise up in a religious revolt, and they say, no, we are taking back our holy places, and we refuse to bow before the Hellenization of our religion. This is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. It's particularly uncomfortable for secular Jews who don't actually care all that much about Judaism and for whom Hanukkah is largely a reverse Christmas. It's basically like Christmas for our kids. So we're uncomfortable with having a Christmas tree in our house because we don't believe in the Jesus. But by the same token, let's get gifts for our kids. We have to have like Hanukkah Harry, and we'll have like a Hanukkah Bush and all this kind of stuff. Okay, that is precisely the opposite. This is precisely the opposite of what actually has been the history of celebrating the holiday. Now, what's hilarious about this is that there was a secular Jew in the New York Times who recognized the hypocrisy, his own hypocrisy in this. His name is Michael David Lucas. And he says, it's the question that Jewish parents instinctively dread. A few months ago, I was sitting on the couch with my 3-year-old daughter watching YouTube videos about animals in space when out of nowhere she looked up at me and asked, Dada, can we celebrate Christmas? We don't celebrate Christmas, I told her, putting on my serious voice. We celebrate Hanukkah. Like generations of Jewish parents before me, I did my best to sell her on the relative merits of Hanukkah. True, Christmas might have sparkly trees, ornaments, and fruitcake, but we have latkes, jelly donuts, and eight nights of presents. Do we have Santa? She asked hopefully. No, I said, and her face dropped. They do. I tried to reiterate the part about jelly donuts and the 8 nights of presents, but she wasn't having any of it. I can't say I blame her. During the rest of the year, the Jewish holidays we celebrate are like special bonus celebrations we get to have on top of everything else going on in the calendar. With Hanukkah and Christmas, however, it's a zero-sum game. Most of the year, it isn't hard for our family to feel both American and Jewish. But in December, that dual identity becomes more of a question, which is why Hanukkah is a big deal for mostly assimilated Jews like myself. The only trouble is the actual holiday, not the latkes and dreidels, but the story of Hanukkah, which at its heart is an 8-night-long celebration of religious fundamentalism and violence. I like that they just discovered that the preservation of the Jewish people is based on, Judaism and also on the preservation of Judaism. It's amazing. So watching secular Jews discover that Hanukkah isn't actually just reverse Christmas is really amusing to me. For people who actually live the Jewish lifestyle and take the Bible seriously and take Judaism seriously and allow Judaism to really permeate their lives, Hanukkah is just another celebration of the fact that Judaism is a deep-rooted part of our life that will not allow encroachment by Hellenizing forces. For a bunch of secular Jews who've basically been Hellenized, they suddenly realize, oh wait, we're celebrating something that we totally disagree with. Real weird. He says, for most of the past 2,000 years, Hanukkah was an afterthought on the Jewish calendar, a wintertime festival of lights during which people spun tops and ate greasy food to commemorate what has to be one of God's least impressive miracles. A small container of oil lasted for 8 nights. Yeah, there's a big argument in even the Talmud about what exactly is being celebrated, whether what's being celebrated is the oil or whether what's actually being celebrated is the victory of the Jews over the Seleucid Empire. Suffice it to say, I think it's the latter. More recently, as Jews have become assimilated into American society, the holiday has evolved into a kind of Semitic sidekick for Christmas. And then he talks about how uncomfortable he is. He says, the more I thought about all this, the more it disturbed me. For what am I if not a Hellenized Jew? I eat pork every so often. Before having children, my wife and I agonized over the question of circumcision. And while I've never offered burned sacrifices to Zeus, I do go to yoga occasionally. When it comes down to it, it's pretty clear the Maccabees would have hated me. Yeah. Yep. Fair. They would have hated me because I'm assimilated and because I'm the product of intermarriage. Well, I'm not sure they would have hated you per se, but they would not have liked if you were speaking up on behalf of Judaism. And while I can't say for certain what the Maccabees would have thought about my fondness for Bernie Sanders or my practice of Reconstructionist Judaism, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have liked those things either. Yes, that is correct. And then he says, so why should I do all of this? The answer, frankly, is that it's not my choice. With my daughter ready to sign up for Team Santa, we have to celebrate something, and I'm not quite Hellenized enough to get a Christmas tree. And this is secular Judaism in a nutshell in the United States. Secular Judaism in a nutshell is, I don't want to be known as a Christian because it makes me culturally uncomfortable, but I don't actually give a damn about Jewish things, and Jewish things make me uncomfortable. So instead, I sort of keep the hallmarks without uncomfortably recognizing what it is that Judaism has stood for so long. When people ask me, one of the big questions I get, why are Jews so liberal? The answer is many Jews are liberal because they are this kind of Jew. They're a Jew who actually doesn't like a lot of the central tenets of Judaism and is Hellenized beyond all measure, but simply does not have the guts to simply say goodbye to the religion as a whole. And Judaism is not for the faint of heart. And Judaism does have central tenets, just like Christianity is not for the faint of heart, and it does have central tenets. And trying to secularize holidays is a huge, huge mistake. Your kids won't be celebrating. This guy's worried about it. He won't have to worry about it. His kids and his grandkids will not be celebrating Hanukkah anytime in the near future as soon as they are adults, because people instinctively recognize hypocrisy. And by the way, what's sad about all of this is that all the folks who think that secularizing and Hellenizing is going to protect them from anti-Semitism, good luck with that. Historically speaking, that has certainly not been true, which is why in a new survey, 43% of Dutch Jews hide their Jewish identity. Okay, so that's not going to work for them either.